what the market's doing. Because if you think about January 2020, were we not like all like, woo, woo, we got a good year ahead of us, right? I don't know about you guys, but I had a great start. Anyone else acknowledge that or feel that? Kelly, Kristen, a couple of you. I mean, I was like, holy cow, this is gonna be my best year ever. And then, COVID happened. And it didn't kill the year, but it sure, yeah, changed our perspective. And so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna show you what the market did and looks like in this past year. So I'm gonna try to get rid of our heads so you can see this whole thing. So here is just a 1 year snapshot of residential real estate for Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough County. And this is price, median sold price. I got to quick enter these people, sorry. Here's median price. So in 1 year's time, our average price median price went from 240 to 271, up 13%. That's huge. That's a big jump. And if you layer on supply and demand, if we kind of switch gears to supply and demand, you're going to see that the number of solds are up 4%, but the for sales are down 34%. So when you guys see that, what does that make you think of for pricing? What does the future of prices look like to you guys? Let me hear from you.
I mean, it's my opinion that prices are going to settle. They're not going to go on a drastic drop as people are going to start getting more confident to be able to put their houses on the market. There will be more supply, but the demand is high. The demand at least in my space, is extremely high. So I don't see prices dropping as much as prices leveling.
That's a great analogy, I think. And I think for the market you're in, yep. So here's the point though I want to make. We're not going to see a drastic drop in price and a drastic uptick in inventory. I think we're going to just start seeing more confidence, like you said, in listing and people listing. So there'll be some fresh inventory, but it's not outpacing the sales. It really isn't. We are outselling the market immensely.
Yeah.
So
I remember doing all the analysis in 2020. We're outselling the market 2-to-1. For every house that comes on a listing, there are 3 houses that are being sold immediately before, so we're short. It's an understatement.
Well, and here's the thing is, I call it a listing crisis that we have. And yet many of the buyers or people you have that are coming into our market are coming from a different market. Okay. So you guys need to talk about this. You need to educate anyone that is coming to our market about this market and their market. So I just wanted to remind you, that's why we're doing Shift Book Club. And a little plug for tomorrow, we only are covering a few pages, pages 135 to 196. So if you want to jump in tomorrow at 8, we'll go 8 to 9 tomorrow. And we're basically covering understanding these market shifts, being able to talk about it. So I'm going to show you different market shifts and be like, okay, how would you explain this? Because if I'm a buyer coming from a different market where, there's months and months of inventory, I have a house to sell, and I'm coming into this market and I think I'm going to get away with a home sale contingency. And you're like, yeah, I don't think so. It's an education. And yet you need to be able to talk both markets. And so that they have not only confidence in you, but they understand they have to act differently in this market from the market they're coming from. And so that's why we're talking shift, even though our market's really hot, you guys aren't really necessarily feeling a distressed issue with listing sitting, price reductions needing to happen. You're not feeling that. I get it. Yet the buyer that's buying with you right now might be selling a home in their current market that is that. And you're going to have to talk both markets. We're also going to talk about the importance of staging. And the pivot I want to make in that conversation is the impact of digital or virtual staging. Your digital curb appeal for your listing better be sharp, right? Because the house might be being bought sight unseen. And so when you think about your listing, are you giving it that maximum curb appeal? So we'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow in shift. So if you want to get up a little early, 8 to 9, we're going to be talking shift. Other things to think about though are the opportunities in the market that creates. So, when you're talking to your database, make sure you're bringing up this market and discussing what it's doing, because those folks that look at you, they may not need to buy or sell today, but when you're able to articulate the market and the impact of the market, they're more likely to pass your name along when they're chatting with a friend or a family member that's talking real estate. And again, it's really your ability to articulate with confidence that matters. So we'll be spending some time on that. So be sure Michelle will be sending an email with some of these slides that I pulled from Broker Metrics so that you can use those for your own videos if you wanted to do something right now with the market. But if you're not confident in talking about that, tomorrow in shift, that's what our primary focus will be. So other things to think about are, what are the opportunities of 2021? So when you guys think about your business right now, what opportunities are you thinking? What are the opportunities you guys see right now in this market? It's opportunity time. It really is, you guys.
Mhm.
So I'm since no one's tripping up yet, things I would do is, this is a great month. The month of January is a great month to make as many calls to the database that you're friendly enough to call to and say, hey, what are your plans for 2021 in relation to your home? Do you plan on renovating or remodeling? Because if you are, I'd love to give you some feedback on how to increase your values and also not put too much into the home. You can also be a great resource for great service providers. So you want to bring this up. So a great care call for this month, if you want to say January, for the month of January, my commitment is really to connect with your database again and people. What I would recommend that you do is that you just reach out to them and say, hey, happy 2021, checking in with you and your family, and checking in to see what your plans are for 2021 around your home. Are you intending to refinance or remodel or renovate? Or are you considering investing or potentially buying a different property? And by striking up that conversation, you're kind of taking their pulse for the year. They may say, oh yeah, we're not ready yet, but once the kids are out of school, we're going to reevaluate. Great, to put them kind of on your radar for 2-3 months out. So those are the conversations I would really empower you to have. Instead of thinking of all the different things you could do to lead generate, think of, how can I succeed through my people, my relationships I already have. And an excellent care call is, what's the plan for 2021? And it's what everyone's thinking about right now. So it's a real appropriate thing to do. And you can have some fun with it. You could also do some polls on Facebook to create interaction. And remember, if I'm one of the people that respond to a Facebook post, so say you do a Facebook post and you say, will you do A, B, or C in 2021 with your home? Trade it in for a new one. You can have some fun with that and just and put a post out there and say, what would you do, A, B, or C? And someone responds with a B or C. Obviously, you're going to pick up the telephone and call that person right away and start a conversation around that. So you want to start provoking the conversation in 2021. There couldn't be a better call to make. So any questions on that, or any questions on what you might say? Any commentary on that? You guys are quiet this morning. Wake up, it's 2021.
It's a little hard for us to get started in the year.
I'm ready. Like you can tell, I had a week off. I'm recharged.
Yeah, you're fully charged.
I could
No,
go
I
for a
mean, I like the poll
suggestion.
idea. I
Okay.
already wrote my four poll questions.
Yeah. So Michelle, what were you going to say?
I got a question for you. I
Okay.
feel like I'm starting to annoy this one person. I started working with her and her fiance 2 years ago, well, a year and a half ago when I first started. And I send them cards. They were originally going to buy a house, but then they were told by I think it was Mark with Keller Williams that they needed to wait a year and build stuff up, which they've done. But throughout that entire time, I send them, text messages, phone calls, and birthday cards and Thanksgiving cards and the whole 9 yards, and emails. So it's like they don't respond. And so now am I just becoming a nuisance?
Well, here's the thing is, you got to remember, and it's hard because follow-up is hard because especially when it's a one-way conversation, right?
Yeah, I
And
just don't want to be a pain in the ass.
well, and you can just be that direct and say, I always want to be of value to you. But you got to remember is people listen to one radio station. It's WIFM. What's in it for me? And
Mhm.
so what I would do is always, you're doing great things. You're keeping the relationship going. But let me ask you
It's a
this.
one-way relationship.
Right, right. But if you it's great to be good to people and sweet and generous and thoughtful. But what's the value add? And so here's the thing I would consider thinking about doing, because what we call that staying in touch or building that relationship, if you bring out the MREA book, that's the 8x8. So say Michelle and I met each other in any circumstance. And 8x8 is those 8 little touches to stay in relationship, so that I kind of cement the relationship with you, so that maybe you don't need a house today, but eventually you will, or next year you're going to be ready to buy. I want to make sure I cement that relationship. So it's you're going to work with me, right? And that's your attempt, but you can't change their circumstance. And so what I would do now, from going to keeping that relationship and cementing that relationship, is really think about the value you're adding to them. And a great thing to get a response is a question, especially if you're doing text and email and things like that. So I would just revisit 2021, say, hey, I just want to revisit your goals for 2021 now that you've done all the hard work to prepare to buy, because the market has changed. What you thought you wanted to buy may have changed. Let's get back together and regroup, because there's a lot of hot properties hitting the market. And if I can find one before it hits market, you can avoid a bidding war, and show value like that.
I've even gone as far as saying, hey, listen, with everything going on, I know that things have been strange, busy. Just touch base with me to let me know everybody's okay.
So Michelle, maybe ask a specific question. So I struggle with some of those same things too. And I reach out to a lot of my database all the time and don't get responses. And so I started texting or calling with a specific question.
Like, are you okay? That's a pretty specific one.
How's your daughter doing in college? I wanted to know, I have a friend who's considering that college. Can you let me know what you think about it? Give them a reason so they feel like they're helping you. Because if it's just answering any question, they don't feel like it's important enough on a busy day, right?
Yeah,
so
I suppose that's
busy,
true.
they have things going on. But if you're asking for their help, I have a friend who's going to go to that same college. Can you tell me what you love about it or what you don't like about it?
Yeah.
You're likely to get a response if they feel like they're able to help you with something.
That's so true. People love to help you as much as you, and some people don't accept help well either. So you might be help. They're like, whoa, okay.
That's the only time I get a response, is if I ask somebody a specific question where I'm asking for their help in return. And a lot of times I use my dogs, because everybody knows I have my 2 dogs and they're my babies. So I use them a lot. So I ask a lot of dog questions or vet questions or grooming questions or things like that they know that those dogs mean so much to me, so they want to help.
That's a good one. Okay.
And also, people feel like if you want something from them and they are not ready, even though you're going at it from a place of helping, they can feel stressed from that. I have people telling me all the time, oh, I don't want to bother you. It's like I'm just trying to set them up on an auto email, and they're like, oh, I don't want to bother, I'm interested in this house, but I don't want to bother you. I'm like, I'm happy to show you. I'm happy to show you it. It's like people are nice. They don't always feel good if they don't have something to contribute back.
Well, and there's great ways you can take that pressure off naturally. Like, I'm sure you guys aren't quite ready yet. However, being the new year, there's going to be a new batch of properties hitting the market. Wanted to know which ones you might want to be made aware of, and just kind of getting their curiosity peak. But you can start the conversation with, I know you guys aren't quite ready yet. However, I want to make sure I've got you in mind with things hitting the market before they do for 2021. I'd love to revisit, what you guys really want now that, since a whole year's gone by. You may have changed your mind on certain things, price point, location, what really matters after COVID, and again, don't expect a response. That's the other thing is, the mindset should not be to expect a response. And yet we're wired to expect a response. Just because, Michelle, if I text you, you're going to text me back. You're like, yeah, I'm fine.
But I mean, I think I only expected a response because of everything that's going on. They've got a brand new baby, and I was just like, hey, just let me know you guys are okay.
And they're probably in total overwhelm with the brand new baby and not worried about your text message right now.
Good
Between
point.
COVID, a brand new baby, everything going on, they're like, yeah, we're fine. We don't have anything to respond, right? Because that's what they think. They think there's nothing to respond because we don't have anything. Everything's good. So that's why sometimes figuring out how you can dig something out of them to make them have to respond, even just for anything.
You know,
a
and
lot
the
of times
art of follow-up is really, for part of it is you've got to, your mindset has to be right, that it's not about getting a response from everyone, but those that respond taking concierge levels of response back, you know, and it's kind of like the art of the response. And it's a great segue because we're almost out of time. And I just want to let you know, we've got a couple special things on the calendar that I just wanted to bring up. Kevin put
Thank you,
together.
by the way. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, well, that's what we're here for. We just brainstorm with each other and, you know, give it a whirl. But Kelly made a great point of, you know, and Kristen, you did too, that sense of obligation. You don't want to put too much pressure on them. What we are doing though is we're doing a mastermind series around different topics. Happens to be for this month, it's open houses, because that is a huge opportunity for you guys right now. We have so many out of state people here right now, and they don't want to go home. They don't. They want to stay. And so they're definitely attending open houses as a great way to get to know the market. And so a lot of you have told me in the past that, you know, I don't do open houses because I don't get a lot of response, or I never convert people. And yet many of us have survived or lived off or built our entire businesses off open houses. And yet there's different elements of an open house that if you're not getting a great response, that we can just help you tweak. Like maybe you host open houses, but you never get traffic, or you get traffic, but everyone seems to already have a realtor, or you get traffic and they come, but you don't know what to do with them afterwards. So what we did is we broke the open house into 4 parts, just even basic. So the real basics is Wednesday from 1 to 2. Marketing and strategies to getting people there in high volume, and promoting yourself as that expert in the neighborhood would be the next Wednesday and the 13th. And then what do you say? Like, okay, they walk in the door. What do you say? How do you get the conversation going so that it becomes a meaningful interaction? And we're gonna actually real play that in front of you and give you different strategies around that. And then the really, really, really all important is follow up. So it kind of goes back to what you were saying, Michelle, of how do I stay in relationship with these people? How do I cement the relationship, stay with them, and cruise with them during this transaction or this process until they're ready to buy or sell? So that is going to be one of the main focuses for January, simply because it is opportunity time. I would say the out of state buyer and the open houses is really where you're going to pick them up if you haven't already picked them up off of Facebook, because it's hard to get that referral because they don't typically know anybody. They don't know who the realtors are. Yeah.
And Jessica, the snowbirds are here.
In full effect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My whole family's in the process of coming and moving down, I swear. So buyers out of state, you know, they go to open houses because they don't know where, you know, and they want to see property, but they don't want to commit to anybody. So it's really creating that relationship and rolling with it. So I would definitely be doing open houses at a high level. So just know our goal is to create different masterminds so you guys can talk to each other just like we're talking now. And brainstorming different approaches or strategies around hot topics. So open houses. So pass that on to anyone you know, and go to any of the segments that you think you'd really benefit from. So now family reunion. I'm going to have more to talk about tomorrow because we're getting all the details from Keller Williams International today on our national call. But we do have the ability to go and buy bundles and get a discount. And instead of it being, I think it's $110 a ticket, I think it becomes around 80 or 90 or 75. I don't know the exact numbers. I'll know it today. But we have to have groups of 15 buy into that. So if you have interest, we're going to do it. It's going to be similar to Mega Camp, but a little different. When we were able to get together in the training room and do Mega Camp together, I know we got a lot more out of it than when you sat at home and did it. So we're going to set up the office in like pods so that we can maximize that experience together, because it was, first of all, a lot more fun. And we got a lot of energy from each other, and we collaborated more. And then we will again also do things like the dinners and all that. So just know that if you have interest in being one of the 15, because we'll do multiple bundles if we have interest, and I know we will, because we have had about 100 people in the office ask for it. We'll just keep buying bundles. So if you have interest in being part of the bundle package and getting a discount, I want you to email Jesse, our MCA. Oh shoot, I've got people in the waiting room. I'm so bad at this, managing both. Sorry guys. Sorry if you ever get lost in the waiting room. I don't intend to leave anyone there.
If I'm ever here, I can help you with that. I'm happy, more than happy to.
So this is Jesse's email if you don't actually have it. And just say, hey, or just put family reunion in the regards or memo. And we'll get a list going and bill you or do whatever she needs to do so that it's the easy button. You can save a few bucks. Everyone that buys part of the bundle, you'll be automatically enrolled in our VIP experience, because we only have so much room in the office with all the protocols that we need to follow. First come, first serve. So if you have interest, reach out to Jesse in an email today. We'll kind of see how many bundles we need to get. We'll help you guys get the discount. And then think about who else in the office you should tap on their shoulder and say, hey, let's engage. You know, who needs to engage in the office? You guys know who your buddies are. Let's put a little pressure on them to get engaged, because I can tell you that Mega Camp was fun. Like, we learned so much together, but we got really energized by each other. And I'm excited about it. I know they learned some things that they're going to do better and differently from Mega Camp. And yet I thought it was pretty amazing how they pulled that digital conference together. And yet the physical elements of it, assuming you feel comfortable doing so, were fun and enjoyable, and we still stayed safe and reasonably safe at dinner. You didn't have to go to everything, but we did dinner at Chickaboom Room, or whatever it's called now, Crown and Bowl, in the back courtyard. So we're all open air. It was really great. And if any of you want to help me plan it or have some ideas around it, just reach out to Jesse and I, because I could always use a hand with that. I always want to make it special for you guys. And yet I was even thinking of bringing up to Nikki, like, what if we could rent a movie theater or something? And I don't even know if that's even better or safer than what we were doing. But VIP, first come, first serve, and just email Jesse and we'll get that going. I'll be marketing it heavily starting today, because I'm going to get all the marketing material from Keller Williams International. So I know you guys have been getting marketed too, and yet we're going to get our marketing kits today. Karen, was there any questions you had about that besides that? I don't even, oh, I see you're muted.
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll come up with some fun ways to make the most energy around it. Although, and Kelly and I were talking about this because she was the first one on, the numbers for COVID are like up big time. And I don't know about you, but I know quite a few people that are dealing with it right now. So we're going to definitely, thank God that's not till February. I think things will simmer down past the holidays. Hopefully numbers will drop again. But we're also not rushing everyone into the office either, just because we understand that the numbers are way, way up. So be safe out there. And yet there's no reason you can't go and make hay, because the sun is shining, the market is crushing. And I encourage all of you to get out of your comfort zone in whatever way you can. And if all you can do is call people, care call, 2021 care call, that's the call to make right now. So I'm going to role play it one more time. Anyone want to